Um, One of the key matters that needs to be dealt with is obviously for the National Executive or Committee of the ANC to do a review and to be able to see exactly what are the factors that has led to this particular ruling. Secondly, would be a consideration as to how does the ANC ensure representation of the Free State back into the conference. There seems to be, based on the facts of the two options. The one option is for the NSC to intervene and to appoint an interim provincial executive committee. The other option is to go back to the outgoing provincial executive committee and to re-establish that committee as the committee that will manage the affairs of the Free State Provincial Executive Committee. I think on the facts of it, it seems very clear that this is a responsibility which requires the Secretary General of the ANC and the NEC to look at, to intervene, and to be able to say how do we now deal with the whole question of the provinces, in the branches in particular, where there has been a process of adequate representation of those branches at the provincial executive. Because I think the key thing here is on the one hand, it's about the PEC that was elected. On the other hand, it's got to do with an assessment as to whether the representation from the other branches that were at the Provincial Executive Congress that was called, whether those branches were correctly and adequately represented. And if those branches were adequately represented, it's quite clear that those members of the branches has a legitimate reason to be at the Mangaung conference. But it's clearly a matter as to how do you balance these factors and what are the things that helps with a decision. So there's a need then to determine what is the standard of measure to be able to know whether those representatives from the branches are legitimate in relation to attending the National Executive Congress of the ANC.